Giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. This is Brother Tazapah here with you once again with another video. And yes, Mayday, Mayday. America is in big trouble and headed for destruction. Today is May 1st, 2024, in this hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. And we see it coming, all right? And again, today is May 1st, which wraps up one of the elite's high unholy days of Beltane, or if you will, Walpurgis Night, which I did a video on last week. The 13 days leading up to this day is dedicated strictly to, for the elite, those 13 days are dedicated to blood sacrifice, all right? And a lot of times by fire, you may, even before this day is out, I hadn't heard any major news on fires or them bombing, but of course these wars are going on, and this is what I want to discuss in this video and cover a little bit on Ukraine. And I have a video, as you can see here, and it's this guy on the video. I'm not sure who this is. They didn't name him on the video. He looks to me like one of the generals of the U.S. military, but I could be wrong on that. But I'm gonna let you hear what he has to say. All right. But before we do, we're gonna get into these scriptures. And again, all right, this is Mayday for America. All right, that's the distress call for um, a ship that's going down or being shot down. Right. That's the distress call. Mayday, Mayday. Well, America is a ship that is going down. It's quickly going down. All right, not a not a sea vessel ship. All right, I think that's the distress call strictly for aircraft. All right, but America has been high. It has been lofty. All right, it's been exalted to the stars. So now the Heavenly Father is getting ready to bring it down. So, right, you at least need to call Mayday on America, but we already know that the elites are behind the destroying of America, the destruction and unraveling, if you will, of the society here. All right, the borders are wide open. I mean, there's no place left for America to go but into perdition. All right, borders are wide open with the whole world accusing America of its woes and pains. You know, a lot of the world know that the much of what they're suffering is at the hands of America, or they blame America. It's not specifically America, but the elite. But you Americans gonna take the rap. You Americans gonna take the rap. And right now, America is full of people who despise you, the liberty that you've enjoyed, and the little liberties that you've enjoyed, and that you show no empathy or sympathy toward the sufferings of the people around the world. All right, because the images that they're shown around the world is just you people, well, what you post on social media. Just, careless, clueless, and acting a goddamn fool. All right, and there's people around the world can't eat, don't have anything to eat. They're dying in wars, senseless wars. And then they see, for instance, Keisha over here, and she twerking on the goddamn dinner table at some restaurant, whatever, at the expense, more than likely at the expense of someone else. Maybe, maybe they have their own money. A lot of black women get money, but You know, what people are seeing around the world is like, y'all over here partying and living it up, and they're struggling. And they know it's American policies that's at the core of the things that they're dealing with around the world. All right. So, I just wanted to give a little brief intro on where I'm going with this video because, yeah, America is a vessel, if you will, a ship that is plummeting, all right, to its death. And this is illustrated here in Isaiah chapter 47, verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. All right. Come down. Why? Because this bitch, this virgin daughter of Babylon, who is a whore, a bitch, I can call her a bitch. She's a whore. All right. Now, I'll prove that in just a minute. All right. But it's saying to come down because she's exalted herself, been placed on a pedestal. All right. People worldwide have idolized this virgin daughter of Babylon. So here the Most High saying, no, 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 come down. Sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, which is who? None other than America, the good old US of A. Stars and bars. All right. Red, white, and blue. So the Most High is bringing her to the dust, meaning that dust represents confusion. All right. It represents the Heavenly Father putting America in derision. All right. I spoke on the border situation. You got all these people here coming across the border that hate you, Americans. You also got runaway debt. You it's almost 35 trillion. I was looking at the debt clock a little while ago, and it's like 34 trillion 700 billion. So just 300 more billion will be at 35 trillion. But this is not counting all. This is just, I guess, for lack of a better term or lack of a better understanding, what the people um, owe per se. When it comes down to each individual. All right. Then you have these the debt that's been racked up through these what would you call it? Well, I know they call it unfunded liabilities, but I'm trying to break that down. These institutions, all right, like let's just say Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, they're under um, certain medical agencies. It's just you have different agencies, insurance companies that are under in the red. Then you add that Social Security would fall under an unfunded liability because it's been robbed. So then you add that on top of it, and then you got unrest. It's just people are angry, upset at each other's throat due to the programming of the television and the media. So what you have right here, right now in America is a perfect recipe, or storm, if you will, a perfect recipe for disaster. And it's no getting out of this because this is the will of the Lord. So we see this virgin daughter of Babylon, America, because it follows the ways of her mother. All right. Going back to ancient Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah, under Nimrod, not Nebuchadnezzar. Well, Nebuchadnezzar too, but when I say ancient Babylon, I'm going back to Nimrod, but also as well as Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar. All right, because what did you have at the time of Nimrod? He was trying to unify all the nations and peoples of the world. All right, so reason why the scripture called Nimrod a mighty hunter before Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. A synonym for a hunter is a conqueror. And he conquered. He was a conqueror. And so this is what we see in Babylon, America. They want to unify the world. Well, it's the elites, but their power source is America. All right, and that's coming through the three-city state, which you have the financial branch being in London under the Rothschilds. You have the religious branch at the Vatican in Rome under the various popes. You got the Black Pope. I heard it was two of them, but the more prominent one, or at least the one that I can remember, is Calvinbach. Calvinbach. Hans, I think I forget his name, but dang, I forget his first name, but his last name is Calvinbach or or Beck. Calvinbach. But then I just recently learned, and then you got the white pope, that little fruity tooty dude, Pope Francis, if I'm remembering correct. I think it's Pope Francis. I forget what pope he is, but you got Pope Francis as the white pope. You got Calvinbach as the black pope, and then I just learned that you have a gray pope, and his name is Pepe Orsini. All right, from the famous Orsini family. All right, that's a kind of a play off of the famous Corneli family. But this is real deal. Pepe Orsini. You can look him up, and allegedly he's the Gray Pope, the one who wields the real power. That's why you've never heard that name. You know. Now you rarely hear of Calvinbach. I don't know why I can't think of his name. But you rarely hear of him. But if you do any studying or research, his name will come up. But Orsini, and that name go back. We looked it up on the block. But I found it in my research, but I didn't go into his bloodline. And we looked into his bloodline. They go back to they've been getting money. They've been getting that bag since I want to say the 1600s. I want to say the 1600s, but you can look that up. I'm not getting into that in this particular lesson. The point here is America's been lofty, and Most High is getting ready to bring her down. All right, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne." All right, they doing all this because they think they getting ready to capitalize on the rulership of the world. All right, and rule the entire world with robots and what you call cyborgs and shit. It ain't gonna happen. There is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans. See, now the Chaldeans go back to Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians that took down the Assyrian Empire. You see, because they was into what? Same thing Esau is into now, the sorcery. The Chaldeans were sorcerers, soothsayers, and this chapter goes into it, but we're not getting that deep into uh, this chapter for this lesson. But right, the Chaldeans were soothsayers, monthly prognosticators, and into the dark magic, the dark arts. That's what they were into. All right, and it says, "For thou," and that same thing that Esau is into. All right, he's got all the records, he's got all of the books, and he studied them. And he said, "Oh, well, shit. They used to do this and could make this happen." And so they're just, plus, it's all Satan. All of these different rulerships been under Satan. So Satan give them the blueprint, you know. They get the blueprint from the spiritual demon Satan, and he gives them their marching orders. No, you're gonna do this. All right. It was how I want DC set up. Oh, I didn't even break that down. I mentioned the Pope or the Vatican, that's the religious branch, but then America is that branch, all right, the military in DC. All right. America is home to Washington, DC, which is its own self-governing country. But that's the military might, all right, the strong arm of the city. And so that's a lot of the times how they get things done when they can't get it done through the religious influence or by financial means. Then they send in the bombs. All right. They send in the bombs. And so it says, all right, right, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right, and this is what's getting ready to happen. Right now, I want to go here to Job chapter 20, verse 18. All right, it says, that which he labored for shall he restore. He is talking about the elite of Esau. All right, because what is he labored for? To own control, and dictate all of the resources of the world. You know, even the people. That's why he's labeled people. Well, at least I know here in America, is when you go to work for this devil, you're called a human resource. They don't look at you as a human being that the Most High created. They don't have any or share any dignity for you as being created by the Most High, a magnificent being. If nothing else, no, they see you as a human resource. All right. So even down to the people, he's labored for the control and ownership of all of that. This is why you was assigned a birth certificate upon your birth and was given a social security card at a certain age. All right. So it's saying here that which he labored for, he shall restore. Right. He's going to restore all of the gold he's hoarded up and whatever other natural resources, that he has amassed or dug up out of the earth. And he's going to restore the people. All right. Well, the Most High is going to restore us. And then we will set the rest of the world free, but they're going to serve us. All right. The other nations are going to serve the nation of Israel, and they're going to love serving the nation of Israel. They're going to love serving under us. But everything that he's destroyed, dug up, tore up, and stolen, he will restore. All right. It says, and shall not swallow it down. Right. It ain't for him. And that says, according to his substance shall the restitution be. Right. Everything that he's acquired, he's going to restore. That shall the restitution be. And he shall not rejoice therein. It says, because he had oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. Why? Because the law governs this world. And the greatest deception that ever been portrayed or perpetrated upon you Hebrew Israelites was to tell you that the law was done away with. All right, that was my last sit down. The laws govern the world. They want to tell you this shit. You'll get into that new age bullshit. Oh, it's 12 universal laws. The law of attraction. The law of vibration. You'll get into that shit. But the real laws that govern existence, oh, well, that's done away with, which is found in the Torah. Ah, no, see, that's done away with. Oh, really? So we're gonna do away with wisdom. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do away with wisdom, and that's why you see a world full of folly. Ecclesiastes 10:6, it tells us that. Oh, and I just thought of something. So Salakia, but yeah, Ecclesiastes 10:6 tells us that folly is set in great dignity. I believe that's Ecclesiastes 10:6. It could be. Let me check real quick. Right. All right. So here, Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity. Why? Because the whole world has been deceived into believing that the law is done away with. Therefore, people are doing whatever is right in their own eyes, with and that 10 times out of 10 is going to be folly. I don't say 10 times, all right. Let's say 9 times out of 10 is going to be folly. But the scriptures do speak about them that keep the law without having the law. You do have that. All right, there is that. If people it's men out there that will not lay with other men's women. All right, I didn't do that shit in the world. It's men out there who govern themselves. All right, now they ain't gonna, of course, be to the letter of the law, but you see what I'm saying. But the point here is that folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. All right, the rich, those that are rich in faith, rich in righteousness, rich in the love of Yahweh, in the fear of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. See, they're going to be pushed to a corner. That's why the scriptures say, our eyes shall see our teachers. Our teachers would not be pushed into a corner anymore. All right, because here in this society, folly is upheld, is set in great dignity, is dignified to be foolish in this world. And it is. Again, for a woman to get up on the table in a restaurant or just on the floor. I mean, just to get up and bend over and start shaking her ass in public, that's folly. That's folly. Just arbitrarily just get up and start shaking your ass. Ain't no music playing, nobody singing, ain't nobody humming. You just get up, start shaking your ass, and everybody, hey, hey, go on, girl, yeah. That's dignified here in America. Now, some of the shit I see on social media, it boggles my mind. All right, because I wasn't raised up in this era. All right, I come up in the era where privacy was respected, and some shit you kept private. Yeah, you didn't put all your business out in the street. But anyway, now the rich are sitting in a low place, and the rich should be elevated. The rich should be set in great dignity, but they're not. All right. But I said I was going to prove that Babylon was a whore, and that thought had escaped me. I want to make good on that promise. All right. I'm going to go here, Revelation chapter 17, verse 3. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And that beast is made up of NATO and the EU. All right, and the seven heads represent seven Edomite kingdoms that arose throughout history. Seven prominent Edomite kingdoms, going back to the Grecians, the Greeks. All right, the Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor, France, Spain. And then you have Britain. Those are the seven heads. And the 10 horns are the EU today. I'm not going to go through them. I can name them, but just know that that's the EU, formerly of the European Economic Community. And it's the 10 major countries throughout Europe. All right. So that woman sitting upon that beast, who's being upheld by that beast, when you sit on the beast, that beast is upholding you. You don't have to use your own power to go about. You're going about. You're supported and going about. All right, on the power of that beast that you're riding. All right, and so that shows you also that this woman is at the helm. When you ride a beast, you normally want to control where it goes. All right. So this had been the position that America had enjoyed, but that is now losing. All right. It says here in verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. You see that? Now this lines up with what we read Isaiah 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. And it went on to say, for there is no throne. All right, because the purple and the scarlet color, that all represents royalty. Decked with gold and precious stones, she enjoyed great prestige and position over the nations. And when you read Jeremiah 51, it tells you that Babylon, the same America, hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. All right? A beacon for those striving for a better life. Hey, look, y'all come over here. All right, bring us your tired, your poor, all that shit. Now it says here, verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. So if you're a mother of harlots, what does that make you? A harlot also. All right? Or mistress. She's also called the mistress of witchcrafts in Nahum 3, which is twofold. It was speaking about in Nahum, the 3rd chapter, it was speaking about the Assyrian Empire, but it doubles to it can also, well, the prophecy fits America today, so it can also double as prophecy for America. All right, talking about Nahum 3, when it speaks about the mistress of witchcrafts, that's America today. And so it says the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So that makes her a whore. All right. So now getting back to Job 20, right, and verse 20, Job chapter 20 and verse 20, it says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. And this is what I want to get into in this lesson, that America will never be the same. There will not be any quietness. So this is talking to Esau, Edom. All right. And this goes for his empire, which America being the hub or the basis, the foundation of his empire. All right. Because the scripture told, well, it was prophesied in Genesis 27 that by this man's sword, this man being Esau, Edom, by his sword he shall live. So that means the the, the power is DC, because DC is his worldwide sword. See, it's a reason why you got more U.S. military bases around the world than probably all other countries combined. There's a reason for that. All right, because the U.S. military is not the military for the United States of America, but it is the military for the elite. That's their military. That's why they're worldwide. All right, that is his sword. So, right, there's power in his finances, there's power in his deception and his false prophesying in the Vatican. But the Lord told him, it was prophesied. Well, it was told to him by Isaac, or father Isaac, but that was through divine, you know, into I guess intervention, but it was through prophecy that he was told by his sword he should live. All right. So that would make DC, the Washington D.C., the the more powerful of the three. All right. So anyway, it says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desires. So, right, that quietness in his belly means he's not going to have any peace. And you can see that around the world, there's upheavals, and this is what they wanted. This is what the elites wanted, but they think that they can control the chaos, and it's out of their control. And this is what Job is prophesying here. All right, in verse 21 it says, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. All right, and here's the point. Verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, all right, when he had all that heart could wish and desire, it says, he shall be in straits. Straits meaning position of difficulty. He would find himself in derision, and now, because, well, let me finish that thought. He's in derision because his counsels are not going as planned. You know, they're having these counsels, they're trying to implement it. As Micah chapter 2 says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands, meaning, you know, it said that they would basically just, I have to paraphrase it, that they would meditate wickedness upon their beds, and then as soon as the morning come, they would put that wickedness into practice because they had the power to do so. So now, when they take this counsel, or their counsels, just like in Isaiah 47, if we'd have kept reading, it said he is wearied in the multitude of his counsels, because they come up with something, they try it, it don't work. That whole pandeezy of, of 2020, it didn't go the way that they expected it. Where at least the I won't I won't say the shutdown didn't go as they expected it, but their planned solution definitely didn't go the way that they expected it to go. All right, people start speaking out against their solution. Um, all kind of info start coming out, and people warning other people, don't do it. Do not do it. That's poison. All right. Which they ain't have to tell me. But despite all that, you still have people, of course, go to get the solution. And but the point here being is none of they shit working. Look at October 7th of 2023. Ain't nobody buying that played out narrative that Netanyahu and Israel is trying to push on the world. Oh yeah, we got to fight for our freedom from Hamas, and Hamas is so terrible and all this. People are seeing through that. Now people are calling it exactly what it is. It's genocide. All right. And so their next council would have to be what Amos prophesied, Amos chapter 8 and 11, that there will be a famine of the hearing of the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai come, because they're going to crack down on all of this exchanging of ideas and information, these communications. They got to crack down on that, or else they lose the narrative. They lose the power. They lose that upper hand. So you're going to see that. It's the reason why they talking about banning TikTok, and it's supposed to went through, I think, in Congress, But we'll have to see how that goes. But this is why they're having these talks now, all right? Because this man is in the fullness of his sufficiency, but he's also in straits, all right? And he don't have the power or the juice that he once had, all right? But it goes on to say every hand of the wicked, which is translated from the Hebrew word, that word wicked came from the Hebrew word aimal, which means sufferer or laborers. So every hand of the laborers, or those who suffered at the hands of this man, it says, shall come upon him. All right. Now I'm going to play this clip. All right, because I ran a little long. I still had another precept, but I could bring that out in another lesson. But he gives a real good explanation of what's taking place in Ukraine. And mind you, this is just Ukraine. All right. We ain't even talking about what's going on in Gaza, what they getting ready, because now Netanyahu is saying, I don't care what y'all say. I don't care about no negotiation, about no hostages. I'm going to Rafah. See, this is what Netanyahu saying against even the U.S. saying, no, don't go in Rafah, man. Look, we press the issue, and we getting a lot of flack, And let's chill out right now. We'll come up with another strategy. We'll have it, and then y'all know we got to get it now, man. If I don't go in here now, because the people want him out. Israel want Netanyahu gone. All right? Because he got them at war and looking like genocidal maniacs. And this is what you're going to find. And that's actually the scripture I wanted to go into was Daniel 2, which I'm not going to have time to go into. But it's, I'm going to just read right at the point. All right. Daniel chapter 2 and 41, it says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. And this is what, if you're paying attention, this is what you see. This is a divided kingdom. All right. And yeah, you got divisions among the people, but the most critical division is between the people and their leaders. All right. Israel ain't feeling Netanyahu. Americans ain't feeling Joe Biden. These are the Edomites. All right. Putin, his approval rating got to be through the roof right now. Putin is the only one showing real leadership. Like he got a fucking brain in his head. Rest of these guys, what's his name, Macron in France, talking about, yeah, we're gonna help you, we're gonna help Ukraine. They supposed to have been sending military equipment and stuff. And I also think personnel, but they supposed to get directly involved. I'm talking about France, and the people ain't with this. And this is why they're in derision or out of scripture in straits. So it says, and this will make more sense when I play the video. It says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron. Who is the iron? The iron is Esau Edom. Because when you talk about the iron, you're talking about the Roman Empire, going back to the iron legs. Well, that extended because we're in the revised Roman Empire, but we're no longer at the legs, we're at the feet. That's why it says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, well, it still has the strength of the Edomites, of the Romans. All right? So they still got power to enforce. It said, but there shall be in it the strength of the iron, right, from Esau, Edom. It says, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. It says in verse 42, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron, see, the toes of the feet, the 10 toes, same as the 10 horns we read about in Revelation 17, the European Union. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong, the iron is strong. It says, and partly broken. So that's what clay cracks under pressure. And this is the understanding, verse 43, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves, the iron, the Edomites, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. There's 3 classifications of men. All right. You got the sons of the Most High, Yasharallah, Israel, the sons of, or the princes of power, the sons of God. And you have the sons of the wicked. And that's Edom, Esau, Edom. So they would be represented by what? The iron. So that's the sons of the wicked. Then you have the rest of the nations. Those are the sons of men. All right. And this is what it's saying. And whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Right. The sons of the wicked shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So the people ain't feeling what Esau trying to put down. They're not trying to pick up what Esau's putting down. They said there's enough of this shit. You know. Now I'm gonna let him give a little, he gives a little overview on the Ukraine situation, which he's on it for the most part. It's just a layman's explanation, very basic explanation, but most of it's true nonetheless. So I'm gonna let you listen to this, and that'll be it for this lesson.
Or in Ukraine, which is happening there. What do what is the end game? Well, for the globalists that are running the show, this is the globalist neocon elite, and both on the Hill as well as in the White House, and these elites in Europe, particularly in
globalist elite. This is their operation from the Hill. Sit up on the Hill talking about Washington. All right. Guess who else also had a hill? We talking about the toes and the feet. Rome had a Capitoline Hill. All right. So we're in the revised Roman Empire. Same players pulling the same shit. I'm gonna go back.
Which is happening there. What what is the end game? Well, for the globalists that are running the show, this is the globalist neocon elite, and both on the Hill as well as in the White House, and these elites in Europe, particularly in Paris, Berlin, London, they're all interested.
Hear that? And the elite in Europe, the whore that sitteth on the beast. Who did he name first? He said the Hill the elite that control the Hill, Washington, D.C., and then he said, and the White House. So he was describing the whore. Then he went on further to describe the beast. He's talking about an elites in Europe. You see, it's a joint effort.
Interested in seeing BlackRock take over Ukraine, number one, so that it can be systematically stripped of its resources. What is the end game? Well, for the globalists that are running the show, this is a globalist neocon elite, and both on the Hill as well as in the White House, and these elites in Europe, particularly in Paris, Berlin, London, they're all interested in seeing BlackRock take over Ukraine, number one, so that it can be systematically stripped of its resources and turned into a subjugated state that belongs to the larger globalist.
Didn't we just read that? He has swallowed down riches. All right. That which he labored for, he shall restore. This is what he's talking about. A raping and a pillaging of more resources. And that's why they're in Ukraine.
But they also want to see that happen to Russia, which is why this war was never about Ukraine. It was always about what can be done to destroy Russia. And of course, since the people in charge didn't perform any strategic analysis, they never thought about purpose, method, or end state, they concluded that Russia today is still the Russia of 1992. It's weak. It's prostrate. Its economy is ineffective. Remember the McCain statement? Oh, Russia is Spain with a gas station. All of these arrogant displays of American hubris, treating Russia as though it was a third-class nation with a fourth-class military. Well, we're getting an education right now. We paid no attention to the Russians who had legitimate concerns about what we were doing in eastern Ukraine. We were building an army to attack them. We put a hostile government into that country in 2014. And we kept telling them that it made no difference to us what they thought or what they cared about. They said, we don't want NATO on our border. No one paid attention. President Trump tried to listen, but he was surrounded by people who subverted him. People who were not loyal to the president, who took an oath of obedience to the orders of the president and then ignored them. So what's the outcome? You've got a very serious war that could become regional, even global. And no one in the White House seems to really grasp that. But we're losing. The globalists are losing. And when the ground dries, and in June you're going to see a massive Russian offensive, and most of what we call this thing called Ukraine.
So he's saying the globalists are losing, and just as we mentioned, when he is in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Now he's saying that based on them being in straits, and the people not going along with the program, as we read in where was that? Daniel chapter 2.
Ukraine is going to be swept away, especially that government in Kiev. But that government doesn't represent the interests of the Ukrainian people. They represent the interests of this globalist elite who are interested in resources and stripping them and using them and exploiting them to make money. Yeah, it feels like, the biggest threat to America is actually what's happened to the petrodollar. When you have Putin now talking with the Saudis and Putin now talking with Xi, and you get rid of the petrodollar, and all of a sudden all that borrowing that we do, where we're living way above our means, that's no longer possible, plausible, or worth. I think what you're saying is this war has become financial as well as military. And the globalists understand that they're going to lose this war. And what will come of this is that the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are going to be increased by 81 additional members.
And there's why I say it's a very layman's explanation, but he made some good points because the elites control BRICS. He's speaking as if BRICS is its own grassroots entity that sprang up just out of a necessity, and it didn't happen that way. The elites own BRICS too, all right? But as the scriptures say, the people, that's where the conflict is going to come in. The people are not going to jive with it, all right? So just understand that. BRICS does offer some resistance to the status quo, if you will. But at the end of the day, if you think the Rothschilds ain't had nothing to do or don't, well, I didn't say right. If you think the elite don't have anything to do with BRICS, you out your mind.
All of these people are going to go to a currency that is backed by gold. And once they go to that currency backed by gold, whether it is one currency or a basket of currencies, it doesn't make any difference. Yes, we are in a lot of trouble. The globalists know that, and it is why they are so desperate right now. And the greatest fear that I have is that when the Russians do attack, and it becomes abundantly clear that Ukraine is finished, I mean, it's already obvious to anybody who visits the place for any length of time, it's in ruins. But once that occurs, I fear that there will be pressure to commit U.S. forces in Poland and Romania, along with Polish forces and potentially Romanian ones, to Western Ukraine. And if that occurs, the gloves will come off, because truthfully, thus far, Putin has exercised tremendous restraint, tremendous patience. He does not want a war with the West. If he wanted that, we'd already have it.
Right.
But if we intervene in Western Ukraine, it's over. We'll be in a full-fledged war.
Expand on that a little bit, because it's sort of interesting. You know,
I think we've grossly miscalculated. Putin had made several speeches over the last 20 years, repeatedly saying, please do not advance the border to Russia. Do not try to transform Ukraine into a hostile actor, an actor with hostile intentions towards Russia. What happens in Ukraine is of existential strategic interest to us, just as theoretically what happens in Mexico is of existential strategic interest to us, although this administration has decided to ignore it. He expected that we would negotiate, that he would demonstrate that this was serious, and that Russia wanted its population in eastern Ukraine, which is really Russian, to have equal rights before the law. He wanted to end the oppression of the Russians that lived there. And he wasn't going to surrender Crimea. The reason he went into Crimea is he was afraid it was going to be turned into a U.S. naval base. Biden said, our goal is regime change. Our goal is to get rid of Putin. And our goal is ultimately to divide Russia into constituent parts, then exploit it. All of his supporters, his staffers, everyone in the globalist camp knows this is the truth. The so-called oligarchs, Kolomoisky, Soros, and others are all part of this. None of this is news. Finally, he said, enough's enough. He stopped. They set up a strategic defense. They ran an economy of force mission, and now they have a force in place that can go as far as it needs to go, which includes to the Polish border. They have a plan for a 31-month war against us if we insist on fighting it. And we are in no shape to fight a war. We can't even recruit the United States Army or the Marines. The Marines are running around trying to recruit illegals that are being encouraged to do so by the administration. Is that what you want in the ground force to fight for this country? Forget it. It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And with that, to the next one, Shalom. It's not going to work.